With the concrete truck officially coming to pour our pier and beam foundation in just a few days, it's time to start creating all of the forms that will hold our house's concrete together. I have to make a total of 24 forms, plus cut and bend all of the rebar that will hold our concrete together. But as a first-time new construction builder, mistakes will be made and lessons will be learned. But it's all a part of the journey of building an A-frame for Airbnb from the ground up. Hey guys, my name is Darryl Darks, and if you're new to my channel, I just quit my $150,000 a year sales job to start a real estate business. And my wife Lori and I just bought our first property, a beautiful 1-acre lot located in Canyon Lake, Texas, where we're gonna be building a short-term vacation rental property from the ground up. And we're bringing you along for the entire journey. What is up, you guys? So today I'm not at the land. I'm actually here at my house. And I'm at my house for a couple of reasons. Number one, I want to cut these forms that are going to actually hold the concrete and the sonotubes for our foundation. And I want to do it here just because it's so much easier than cutting all the stuff on site and then having to haul it in. Like, it's just so much easier if I can just do it here. I got my truck with me. I can cut it here. I can then load it into the truck and I get it ready to be put up tomorrow. So today's Wednesday, and on Monday, we're actually having the concrete delivered at 7 a.m. So I have to do this now. So let me explain to you guys what I'm actually using to create everything. So first thing we're doing, we have these 2x4x8 studs that I'll be using to create all the forms that are gonna hold these piers and also do the back decking. After that, I'm using these grip right bar ties. They're 16-inch, 17 gauge. They're 100 ties fit in one bag, and I'm actually gonna be using approximately like 6 or 7 bags, depending on how things play out. So I have my individual plastic high chairs here that are 2 1/4 inches high. So what that's gonna do is allow me to set my rebar grid off of the ground, because you don't want your rebar to be too close to the ground because of corrosion. So I'm just gonna set it up above the ground. And my rebar grids I have in the garage here with me, which I'm gonna be cutting down the sides. So I actually be cutting down the rebar grids approximately about 20 to 21 inches or so, just to make sure I have enough space on the sides of the footings for concrete to sit, so concrete can get into the sides of the footings without causing any corrosion. And then I'll be tying those things together with the ties. I don't think I'll be able to fit all of the footings if they have the sonotubes attached to them in my truck, but I am gonna make at least 1 or 2 examples of how they should look, and then I'll manufacture the footings with the wood as much as I can while being able to fit them in my truck. So when I get to the site, all I have to do is just really connect a few things, hammer a few things in, and I should be ready to go. And the first cut we're going for is 48 inches. So just like anything you do for the very first time, you have to figure things out. And it took me a few tries to finally hit on the best shape and dimensions for the form, but I eventually knocked it out. Okay, so if I do a triangle, if I don't do that, if I just do 27 inches here, like this, square, and just boom, boom. Yeah, just all I need is 11.5 inches actually. Oh, it's about 12.5. Over 12 inches wide. Dude, how big is this thing? All right, you guys, so you're now looking at the actual template for the forms, all the concrete forms. I actually have the form tube that'll sit right here where my hand is moving back and forth, and it'll be going up this way. So you're looking at it from the bottom actually, but this is gonna be the template. So now that I created this template, all I gotta do now is just cut it out again and again and again. I have 20 of these to make, so 19 more to go. but I've already have the sides cut out already, so that's gonna be easy. I just gotta cut the insides in the middle, which is not gonna be a big deal. So I'll cut that out now, and then I'll be ready for pour day. All right, so put the rebar down, and then the key is twisting the rebar to get it thin, to make the cut thinner and thinner. I'll show you. All right, and then you get it to be very thin, and then you just step on it. You can break it. See, it breaks easily. And it's the same thing over and over again. So from there, I really hit my stride. I bought a metal grinding wheel to cut the rebar, and I was off to the races. And if you're wondering, I used a DeWalt aluminum oxide 10-inch metal grinding wheel to cut this number 4 rebar down to size. So after making over 80 cuts of the rebar, it was time to actually start bending the rebar. Now, I've never actually had to bend rebar before myself. I've only used rebar once before on a project, and that was to build the concrete footing for my basketball goal in my old house. But that's it. Now, most people use a 3-pin rebar bender to bend the rebar, but I also watch people bend the rebar with just bolts and 2x4s glued together. So I decided to try that method first. And what I'm doing here is loading the rebar into a ceiling fan down rod to bend the rebar. But the force needed to bend the rebar actually exceeded the strength of the 2x4. I know this because I could literally hear the 2x4 starting to crack as I'm bending the rebar here. So that didn't work, and after that, it was really just back to the drawing board. So my original plan for all this rebar was to actually create a full rebar stand that would go into the ground. So the rebar would be connected. I'd have 4 of the rebar J's, as I'm calling them, and that would be connected to the grid rebar, and that would be connected to the actual rebar chairs. And it definitely was easier said than done. So earlier I said that I was actually using the down rod of a ceiling fan to bend the rebar. And it actually worked very well. So the strength from the metal in the down rod is actually strong enough to bend the rebar. And the best part about it is that I bought these down rods on the discount table at Lowe's for just $5 a piece. And since the bending of the rebar works so well, I eventually decided just to wet set the rebar in place, which is totally commonplace in residential construction. Making the whole rebar tower with the base being a rebar grid and the base connecting to rebar chairs is really more so meant for commercial, and wet setting the rebar in residential is totally fine. So from there, I started packing the rebar up, and I got ready to head to Canyon Lake. So before I knew it, it was actually time to drop off the forms and start getting everything into place. I also labeled each form so I knew exactly where to place them on the foundation. Hole 1, row 1, right here. Row 1. So right now everything is just loosely placed. When I come back tomorrow, I'll go ahead and I'll tie them all down with these grade sticks, make sure they're level, and then also place the last row of blocking plus the sonotube. What a beautiful view. So after spending so much time building 24 concrete forms and bending over 80 individual pieces of rebar, a break was definitely appreciated, and taking this beautiful scenic drive through Canyon Lake is just what I needed. And after my drive, the next day I went back to the land. I officially set all the forms level, got everything ready to pour the concrete. So that's it, you guys. The forms and the sonotubes are up for the pier and beam foundation to be poured on Monday. This concrete is coming and I'm so thankful. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I cannot wait till you're here. See you guys. Next time on the channel, this is the moment I've been waiting for over 2 months. Because today is concrete day, that's right. And I'm still making last minute updates to the pier and beam foundation. All right, so the first of the concrete guys are here. But as a first time new construction builder, I may have made my biggest mistake ever. So I went to go actually use my generator right here, and I realized that I barely have any gas. I would not have been able to vibrate all of these footings if I do not fill up my generator right now, and the concrete guy is on the way, so I gotta hurry up. So the concrete truck that I've been waiting on just showed up as I'm leaving to go get gas. Since this is the most important day at the land so far, I really need things to go well.